Ladies and gentlemen, I am so fortunate today to be joined by not one, but two of the producers of one of the movies that Ottawa Life magazine named the top 10 films of 2021. Of course, I'm talking about the movie Mass. I'm joined today by Dylan Matlock and JP Ouellete. Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hey, how's it going?
Doing very well. How are you guys?
Wonderful.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. I appreciate it. I've had the opportunity of interviewing different actors and actresses, different directors, producers. This is exciting for me. Now, I think I can answer this question, but since you're the ones being interviewed, explain to the good people the role of a producer.
The $50,000 question. Everyone always wonders that one. They're like, producers don't do anything, right? No. They wonder that one, and then they go, "What's the best boy grip? What's that mean?" That's the one everyone asks me. So, we'll get to the best boy grip later. But the producer, we like to say that we're the glue that holds it together. We go out, we find the script, we source some of the money, we hire the casting director, we work with the director extremely close on the creative, and then we pick a date and we hold on tight and glue it together and hope it all comes through. So yeah, that's how I explain it.
All right, fair. I like that. See, I wouldn't have asked about the best boy. I would be like, how do you like get in close with the person at craft services so you get the snacks that you want? But that's just me.
That's the person you start staying away from. Yeah, gaining too many pounds. So
yeah. Now speaking, first of all, before we get to Mass, the two of you, how did you guys come to end up working together?
Well, we met on a movie in Boston. That's why he's got the Paul Pierce jersey in the background. JP's from Boston. I went out and did a movie in Boston in 2008, and we became friends on set. And then when JP moved back to LA, we started writing together and just talking story together, just talking about movies and what we loved, and just wanting to create together. I think is really how it all happened.
Okay.
Yeah. We had a good nature on set working together. So then when we found out we have the same taste in film, that's important for producers because you're the first producer. Another thing, a producer is the first audience member. So like we're working with that writer director, we need to have quote unquote good taste. And if a script's good enough to get me and Dylan excited, then it's good. You already got two audience members approved, and it's good to get started with that. So that's just all we need is that when the two of us come together on something, we go, okay, it's good. When one of us doesn't like it, we go, all right, maybe it's not all there. So it's a good teammate to have.
Yeah,
I like that. You need that united front. I appreciate that.
Yep.
Now tell me about this Fran Kranz guy that you guys got yourselves involved with. Tell me about how he came into your lives.
Oh my God, he's the best. Well, it was working on another film together. Dylan was doing a physical production on a small movie. It was called the Midsummer's Night's Dream, and Fran was producing and starring in it. And we didn't know him until then. I mean, I always loved Cabin in the Woods and Dollhouse and all the work he's done. And I always just knew him as an actor. And this was maybe his first producing credit. And so he brought us on to help for physical production. Just met him day one of prep there. Nicest guy ever. We just worked with him. I mean, it was just a regular working relationship. We didn't really, become best buds or anything like that. Just, made the movie. It was a great movie. It came out. It was excellent. Just kept in touch over the years, just saying hi and Happy New Year and all that stuff and seeing what we're up to. I was developing a TV pilot at one point where he was going to star in as an actor, and just kind of kept in touch there. And then one day I just texted him and Casey, our other producing partner, and they were just having a cookout. I just text hello, and they're like, "We're having a cookout. Come on by." And it's the cookout that changed my life. And I went there, and Fran was just trying to get my expertise because he knows my writing background. He's like, "Hey, I just wrote this draft of a script. Do you want to read it?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he sent me Mass. So it was kind of just kismet or fate or whatever. It just all lined up that day. And once I read that script, it took me a few weeks to get to it. But once I read it, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is a perfect script. And I actually was reading it at night and called him at like 1:30 in the morning. And I was like, hey man, I'm like, we got to make this movie. I was like, he's like, oh, okay. Like, I was that excited that I got done like that late and had to call him and maybe even wake him up. But it was, as you've seen from the movie, it's just special right off the page. So that's how we got together with him. And
that's amazing.
Right ever since. Yeah.
That's amazing. Now, one of the things that I really appreciate about this film is the fact that there are many films that deal with the subject matter of gun violence or violence in schools or things of that nature. And you always think to yourself, okay, well, what is it that you can do to have your film stand apart? And Mass accomplishes that. When I was crafting the list of my, favorite films of 2021, this was such an easy one to add on to the list. One of the parts of the film that I think that is so genius is we've got, obviously it's a dialogue driven movie, as our friend Aaron Sorkin would call it, a talkie. And we've got two couples. And I think part of the genius is that for the majority of the movie, you're not sure if you're dealing with which couple is the parents of the victim or which couple is the parents of the perpetrator. Can you talk about some of the things that that are in this film that you find very special?
Yeah, I think that's exactly it. Is that it's really just a conversation between these four people and just them trying to heal. And I think what's so great about it is you really get to live in the conversation. You don't have any distractions. There's no flashbacks. There's no like having to see the incident. We talked a lot about like, can we make this movie where it's just four people in a room just trying to work through the trauma and just try and heal. And we kind of embrace that part of the movie, that aesthetic and that trying to accomplish that. And I think what's great about it is that it really is all about these characters and not necessarily their circumstances, but how they could kind of come together. We really enjoyed that part.
Yeah. I think, we're in an interesting time right now in this pandemic where for many months we've seen movie theaters shut down. We've seen a lot of the big, so-called blockbusters postponing their release dates. Mm-hmm. And I also find, and I've been saying that this, I think, is a really great time for creators, because it just goes to show you don't need a big budget production. All you need is a compelling story. And that's something that you have here. That's something that you definitely have here with Mass. Do you like marketing a film right now that is mainly being released from I guess an on-demand or an at-home perspective? How do you find that? I mean, a few years ago, it wouldn't have been a big conversation to be, okay, we're going to be releasing it theatrically in maybe less markets or a handful of markets or whatever that might have looked like. But now it's kind of like it's kind of an even playing field, if you will, because so, for example, myself here in Ottawa right now, for the last few weeks, movie theaters have been closed. People are consuming on the Netflix, on Prime, on Disney, all these different platforms. Whereas before that wasn't the case. So how do you find navigating and promoting a film in this world?
Wow. Yeah. I mean, it is night and day from just 2 years ago. So definitely there. We actually got extremely lucky because we had a theatrical release in LA and New York, and it actually ended up expanding. It was so popular and ended up expanding into 30 cities or something. And that was in October. So we got really lucky in that little sweet spot where everyone was kind of coming out their houses and, like, what's going on out here? Let's get back to the theater. So we got extremely lucky with that timing. And the movie just kind of, the buzz built. So when it came on demand, and now it's available on DVD, came out last Tuesday and Blu-ray. Now everyone's kind of heard of it. They're like, what's this movie that's buzzing around? So it's on a lot of top 10 lists. I think we're on the most, Critics' Choice Awards. It's wild. So people are reading, they're going, what is this? And they're able to read about it and have it available to them immediately. So they check Amazon Prime, they check iTunes, they're walking down the aisle in Best Buy and the Blu-ray's right there. It's like, it's kind of, I don't know. I think we kind of lucked out a little. It's a little easier because now you can read an article. Someone can actually watch this video, this interview that you're doing, and say, I'm watching that tonight on iTunes because it's available. It's amazing. I think it's amazing. So
yeah, absolutely. We can add this into a special feature of the collector's edition of the Blu-ray.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Yeah. Now, one of the things that I've heard about you two fine gentlemen is that you seem to like working with first-time directors. Can we talk a little bit about that? What is it about? Is it because that they're not going to give you problems the way like a Christopher Nolan would? Like, what is it about first-time directors?
Yeah, it's because we control everything.
Not at all.
No, I think what it really is that we really love to see, just because of our experience and able to help shepherd, their ideas and really bring that forth. And, I think a lot of first-time directors kind of relish that, that we can help them with the production side of it, and that we've had the experience of being like what works and what doesn't, and just kind of like give our thoughts on story and also our thoughts on how the whole process is going to go. I don't know if you want to say something, JP.
Yeah. And I don't know if, it does come down to maybe our young age, it's like we have that bridge, because you can have a first-time director, and if they're working with some producer who's in their 50s and got 10 studio movies behind them and all this stuff, and they only know how to make a movie one way. And the way Dylan and I came up is, by bootstrapping it, so it's just like we're DIY, like, filmmaking from the get-go. And I think we're that bridge because, we have over a decade of, producing experience at this point, but we're not locked into some studio model or anything like that. We're able to get someone doing their first film and be able to communicate and bridge the gap into a feature film for them. It's easier to communicate. I don't think we're, intimidating in any way. We're just like a couple of guys, like with a few movies under our belt, so we're just there. We tell our director, like, hey, we are here day one to the end, and let's get this thing done. And it's a journey. So we're happy to take it with the first time directors, and they're just so ambitious and happy to be in the business and do their movie. And it's like, if you work with a director that's been in for a while, they're like grumpy and grizzled and blah, blah, blah. It just becomes a job. And a movie like this with Fran, he's just like gung ho the whole time. It's like his baby's coming to life, and he's shooting his first, and we're just, that energy just keeps us going all day. So it's great. Yeah, it's great. And we just wrapped another one too with a first-time director, and it was wonderful. Every moment was just easy because he was so happy, and the energy and the vibe on set was just translating right to the film. So that's another reason too. So
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Now, of course, Fran is first-time director, but I mean the cast, no first timers here. We've got Reed Birney, Martha Plimpton, Jason Isaacs, and Dowd. Talk to me about assembling like this all-star cast, because honestly, so for example, I'll use Ann Dowd as an example. Saw her in a film, I believe it was called Compliance, and I thought, okay, this is probably the best work I've seen her in. And it's as if telepathically she heard me say that. And she's like, hey, hang on, Keith, hold my beer. I can go even better. And then we saw that in mass. So tell me about getting this, like, how involved were you guys in with the casting and getting this amazing ensemble together?
Yeah, so it started with Reed Birney. Funny enough, like Fran and him had gone back to their Broadway days. They had worked together, and so when we came on, he was kind of like, "Hey, Reed has read this. He's excited about it. I want him to do it." So we were kind of pumped that we already had such an important piece in place already, because really he's so great in this movie and perfect for it. And then our casting directors had Jason and Martha in mind. We both really loved them, and I think Fran really gelled with them when he met them. And then I think our own JP Ouellette suggested Ann Dowd for her work.
Yeah, I was, and yeah. So our casting director was building this great package with Jason and Martha, and we just could not find our Linda. We read a bunch of people, and the script's amazing, and it was like luckily the hottest script in agencies like 2 years ago. It was like in everyone's hands. Everyone was calling us, like we were like in this lucky, window. Like we're like, whoa, this never happened. And when I'm prepping a movie, just like everyone else at home, my stress release is binge watching a television show. So I'll work all day, and then at night I'm 2-3 episodes or something. And just the thing I was binge watching happened to be The Leftovers on HBO. My first time watching it, was suggested by a friend. That show found me at the perfect time, just in my life, just in everything. I was watching at least 3 a night. And I was just captivated by Ann Dowd. And I believe we were just having a lunch with Fran one day, and I just blurted it out. I'm like, I think I'm obsessed with the acting of Ann Dowd. I'm seeing her in this show 3 episodes a night. And we were just like, okay, let's ask her people to read. And luckily we had the best script. She read it in days. It was like, she might have had it done by the end of the next day. And she was on it. And it just changed everything. She is the greatest human I've ever met. So she's great.
It's so wonderful. Yeah.
JP, I have to say, I love that you take inspiration from binge watching a show. Most of the people I know take procrastination into binge watching a show. So I like that you've got a more positive spin on it. That's great.
That's the thing about producing too. It's like, even when we're not working, we're working. I didn't realize, I was just like, okay, I'm doing what everyone else does. I turned off my brain, watched, a couple episodes of my new favorite show. I just found Leftovers was, from years ago. And I was just finally starting and catching up to all the, the HBO catalog. And, and it just found me. And I was just seeing Ann every night. And I'm like, how about Ann Dowd? She is lasered into me into the show. She doesn't even speak, in the show for the first 2 seasons, I think. And she was just staring at me. I'm like, we need her. She's the best. I was just, it was just a throw. And she, my God, thank God she gravitated to the script. And I believe her agents have already heard of the script at that point, because it's just it was that hot. It was every actor wanted it. As you can see, it's such an actor's piece. It's 4 actors in a room. And it was kind of the talk of the town. It was a very easy one to cast, and we got blessed with the best actors for each role ever. We just, we talk about it all the time. We're just we're floored with it. So
yeah, like I said, I can't rave enough about it, and I'm very excited that people have the opportunity of seeing it. Here in Canada, it is on, for example, the TIFF Bell Lightbox has it on their digital platform. You can get it on iTunes. You can get it on Rogers On Demand. You legitimately will not have any difficulty finding this movie. And if you haven't seen it, I definitely recommend that you check it out. One of the best films of 2021. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me. But before we let you go, though, before we let you go, I wanna have you guys join me, if you will, in a little quick game of rapid fire. Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you some questions. I don't want you to think too hard about them. The purpose of these questions is just to get to know you a little better and just to have some fun. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Why not?
All right. So the first question that I always ask, I know you've seen this before because I'm sure you're big fans of the show, is always, what is your favorite movie of all time? Now, because we're dealing with some big deal producers here, I will give you a couple of caveats. Number one, don't mention a movie that you've done yourselves, because that's just kind of cheating. And then the second thing is, because picking one is so difficult, and because we're old friends now, if you guys want to give me even a top 3, I'm cool with it. So I don't know who wants to go first, but we're looking for your favorite movies of all time. No explanation needed. Just give me some titles.
All right. I'll go 3. I'll go Casablanca, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and Pulp Fiction.
All right.
Wow. Yeah. Pulp Fiction is a good one. Let's see. Jaws and The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, are always tied number 1 for me. They always switch every time I watch one. So those are definitely 1 and 2. No, I'm not picking one right now.
Okay.
And then a third. Wow. I mean, I do love Pulp Fiction too. And of course, Dylan and I have the same taste, so I'm going to have to pick that one.
All right. My favorite movie of all time is Heat. Neither one of you said that, so I won't be sending out the PS5 for one of you today. Okay, moving on to the next question. I'm kidding. I don't have any extra PS5s. Moving on to the next question. Of course, we have been in these crazy pandemic times for the last couple of years. Gentlemen, tell me about a hobby that you might have picked up during this pandemic.
Ooh, it's hard. I usually go dancing all the time, so I've kind of missed that. Ooh, man. Been watching a lot of TV, unfortunately.
The hobby I got into biking.
Oh, okay.
I bought a bike. Actually, the first 6 months of the quarantine, I went through 6 different bikes, returning it and reselling them, like trying to find the perfect bike. So I finally got a good mountain bike that I love and try to take out a couple times a week. So that was my little thing. So
I've been trying to pick up the guitar again and play more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. A little while ago, JP, you mentioned HBO. Have either of you partaken in Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh yeah. Oh
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Follow-up question. Have either of you ever had what I would call a Larry David type moment where you're just brutally honest with somebody?
I think we do it to each other. I think we're like really honest with each other. Like, and the fact that we haven't killed each other yet, I think just speaks to our friendship, because we do.
Oh my God.
Kind of all the time to each other. So
I think no, we don't have any stories ready for you. I don't know if they're
fair.
They're PG. I don't know if they're PG-13 enough for us, but yeah, we do. Man, making a movie, especially with your best friend and producing partner, you get at each other and you drop some honesty. There's some pretty tough moments on a set. So, but we deal with them well. I hope.
I love that. Best answer ever. Okay. Last question, and get a little more serious here. If I'm talking to an actor, I'll say, what advice would you give to an emerging actor in your role? What advice would you give to somebody who was bringing you their project for them to stand out amongst all of the other people that would be bringing projects to you? What is something that you guys look for?
Yeah, I think it's kind of the like, what is it? The why now? Why is it important now? Why do you love this story? Why is it so important to you? Why does it have to get made?
Mm-hmm.
Because we're gonna be spending so much time working on this movie. You don't realize just how many hours you put into making a movie, and it's with you for life. So why is this story important? Why do you really want to tell it? I think is one of our big things.
Yeah. And yeah, I agree with that as far as like thematically, and then practically, I think having like, Keith, if you had an idea, you're like, oh, these guys are perfect for it. I would want to hear it from someone else. So we always like to have that third. You always want someone to be like, hey man, Keith's script's really great. And we're like, what? We got to get Keith's script. Because if you tell us, everyone tells us all day, you got to, I got a great, cool. Yeah, sometimes we're able to read them, sometimes not, or whatever. But, and I would say, have someone in your corner, if it's a producing partner, a friend of a friend, to be like, hey, Keith's got that good script. And you go, oh, really? And that's good. And then another practical tip, I always do this. I kind of teach a pro bono pitch deck class online. I love the pitch deck because producers, sometimes we get 30 scripts a month at least. But the ones that have a pitch deck that give a visual representation of your story and what you think it's going to be. So I can look at a little 8-10 page, almost comic book or something, or just a breakdown. It doesn't have to be too fancy, and be like, oh, this is Keith's life story right here. These 5 images and these paragraphs. Wow. Let me read the script, man. It's like a little calling card for your script. So those are my 2 practical tips. So.
I love that, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to answer that. The name of the movie is Mass. We have been talking with Dylan Matlock, JP Ouellette, 2 of the producers of this phenomenal film. Gentlemen, thank you so much for spending some time with me and chatting about your cinematic achievement, which is how I refer to Mass. I wish you guys all, I shouldn't say all the success because you've been having success with it, continued success with it, and again, thanks for taking part in this chat today. I really appreciated it.
My God, thank you so much for helping spread the word.
Thank you so much.
To my Canadian brothers up there, my last name's Ouellette. Come on, guys, front the name. You're a little guy from Boston, so all right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much.